So how do you start a podcast in 2019? What's going on, guys? It's Omar Elattar, host and creator of the Passionate Few podcast. For those of you that know me, you're used to seeing me doing interviews, but today I'm at a beautiful park here, got a beautiful pond, and I just want to hop on here and share with you guys some of the top 5 tips that I've learned when it comes to starting your own podcast and getting it off the ground. Whether you're watching this in 2019, 2020, 2021, sometime in the future, these strategies are relevant and they work, and they will get you to go from procrastinating on starting a podcast, which, you know, if we're being honest, my hallucination is you've probably been thinking about starting a podcast for a while, but didn't know how, or thought, man, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the resources, I don't have the network, who's gonna listen, how do I do an interview? That sounds complex, and I get it. So if you've been procrastinating on that, you clicked on the right video. Congratulations, my friend. And again, I wanna welcome you guys to the channel here at The Passionate Few. My name is Omar Elattar, host and creator of the Passionate Few podcast, if you guys don't know me. And we basically interview multi-million, multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs, and I'm on a personal mission, myself and my team, to humanize greatness one story at a time and awaken more passion, more fulfillment from entrepreneurs and people just like you in their life and business. So again, just want to hop on here and share with you guys this video. These are my top 5 tips on how you can start a podcast in 2019 and do it fast. And I've learned from doing this over the course of the last 3 years, making tons of mistakes, doing quite a few things right, and learning how to get interviews, not just through Skype, which I think is awesome, but how to actually do it in person to have a much more profound impact on your network, your business, your personal brand, and also your sense of confidence, not just on social media and social proof and all that, but your sense of confidence with going out into the world and touching it, becoming familiar with people playing the game of life at a higher level than you. Whether multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs or multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs are your priority, or you want to interview people who are great thinkers in your particular area of business or expertise or study, right? Whatever it is, or nutrition, right? Whatever field it is that's a focus for you, these strategies will work. So again, guys, Omar Elattar here, host and creator of the Passionate Few podcast. If you guys haven't checked out the channel, make sure to check out all the epic interviews, and make sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And last but not least, before we get into these top 5 tips that I've learned and how you can start a podcast fast, I want to encourage you guys to grab a paper and a pen, because research shows that if you grab a paper and pen and write it down, you're actually almost 80 to 85% more likely to follow through. So I'll let you guys grab a paper and pen. You can pause the video right now if you'd like. Otherwise, make sure to take notes and take action, okay? You've clicked on the right video if you've been wanting to start a podcast. I'm gonna cut through all the BS and all the fluff that all the long format videos online don't give you. So we're gonna cut right to the chase. Take action, write things down, and I promise you, you'll thank me later. Make sure to comment below, let me know your thoughts. These are usually things I only share with my high-ticket coaching clients, and if you're interested in that, at the end of the video, I'll let you know, you can check out the description below, where you can inquire about coaching programs and other offers I have, including my free ebook, which you can grab and download. It's an easy read, you can read in one night. You can check that out in the description below. Anyways, here we go. These are the top 5 tips after my long intro there on how you can start a podcast in 2019, okay? It's a beautiful little pond. Number 1, what you're gonna wanna do is sit down with yourself and define your mission. What's your podcast about, okay? So number 1, define your mission, and really start to jot down, get in your head and ask yourself, you know, what's my mission with starting a podcast? You know, what's my goal here? Is my goal to sit down and interview, you know, professionals in my area of expertise? Is it to interview people in various ranges of expertise? Is it to, you know, share your knowledge with people, meaning that like you want to do an interview show, but maybe somehow like incorporate your business into the actual interviews? Do you want to interview entrepreneurs? Do you want to interview athletes? You know, what is your goal with it? Is it to sell more products and services? Is it to build a personal brand? Is it your sense of contribution to the world? Is it a sense of personal fun? You know, there's all these different factors, and I would encourage you to be really honest with yourself. And I can tell you that when I started, honestly, sorry, there's some wind here. I can tell you honestly, glasses are a great way to hold your hair back. I can tell you honestly that for me, it was all about contribution. It was all about wanting to inspire the world. At the time, I had gone through a breakup, and if you guys know me or have subscribed to the channel, you know the story, but I was in a rock bottom place, wasn't too happy, was making money, but wasn't fulfilled. And so for me, I really wanted to create something in the world that was epic, that was meaningful. And I thought, you know what, I would love to sit down. If life were perfect, I had a mentor ask me, what would I do if life was perfect? And I said, you know, if life were perfect, I would sit down with people that I look up to and respect, learn their story, and inspire the world in the process. And so I went ahead and just did that. So Number one is to define your mission, define your dream guests, and be honest with yourself about where you live in the world. Maybe you don't live in Los Angeles, California like I do. Maybe you live in Florida. Maybe you live somewhere else in the US, New York. Maybe you live in Antarctica. Maybe you're in Australia. Maybe you're in the UK, right? Africa, wherever you're from, I promise you there's a lot of people that would love to share their story with you if you'll just have the guts to finally start your own in-person interview show, your own podcast show. And if you want to do it through Skype, that's cool too. But you know, I specialize, again, like I said, with my coaching clients in my own field of work, for actually doing interviews in person. So take advantage of where you live. There are amazing people closer to you than you think. And if you take action, I promise you, you'll wind up in rooms and having networks that will blow your mind. Take your personal brand, your business, your confidence, your mindset to the next level, okay? So number one, I know we're already almost 5-6 minutes into the video now, but number one is define your mission. I promise you, by investing the time in this, you guys will save dozens of mistakes over the course of time. So don't feel like this video is taking too long. Trust me, hang in there, and at the end, you can let me know about the value you got if you have any questions in the comments below, okay? So that's number one, define your mission. Number two, remember to jot these down. Number two is gonna be to build a team. As you guys all know, without a team, the dream can't happen, okay? So teamwork makes the dream work. And what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna assemble a team of 5 talents, okay? 5 talents. So if you have a paper and pen, these are the top 5 things you're gonna want in a team. And it doesn't necessarily mean you need 5 different people. You just need these 5 skill sets. So it could be in one person, it could be in 2, 3, whatever. You just need these 5 skill sets, okay? So if you're doing an in-person podcast interview show, number one, you're gonna want a videographer, okay? A videographer, somebody to do video. It could be videographer, cinematographer, but just somebody to do video. And if you have cameras or whatever, you basically, ideally, would need 1 or 2 or 3 cameras. We typically use a 3-camera tripod setup. 1 camera would be on myself, 1 camera would be on the guest. And sorry, there's some kids running out here at the park, but like I said, there'd be a 3-camera setup. Number 1 would be a camera on you. Number 2 would be a camera on the guest. And number 3 would be a wide camera showing the whole shot. If you only have 1 or 2 cameras, that's fine. Make the best of it with what you have. But you want a team, somebody who has proficiency in using video to record epic stuff. You know, because these interviews are gonna be epic. And the cool news is that if you have a camera and maybe you have somebody who knows a little bit on how to use video cameras, that should be fine too, because most interviews are on tripods, so it doesn't take that much technical work. Just take somebody to really set up the cameras nice, the lighting to be nice, monitor it during the interview, and you'll be good to go, okay? So number 1 is a videographer, okay? So number 1, video. Number 2 is an editor, okay? Editor, somebody to just cut up the clips once you film it so that they can edit it and put it together. Usually a videographer can edit, but sometimes there's people who just focus on editing, okay? So number 2 is gonna be an editor. And I'll recap at the end here, don't worry. So jot that down, number 2, editor. Number 3 is gonna be an audio engineer. Now, I know engineer sounds like, oh my God, that's complex. How can I afford it? Like, oh, that sounds crazy. It's not that bad at all. You can go on Fiverr, you can go anywhere on Craigslist, find any of these talents. But what you want is somebody to monitor audio. Now, ideally, your videographer could monitor the audio, but on my team, we have somebody who specializes in monitoring audio, because although audio, I didn't know this when I started, although audio sounds like it's easy, right? Like turn on the camera to record the audio. Actually, audio is hypersensitive, so you don't want to capture ambient noise, kind of like the kids screaming earlier. I'm at the park. I don't have a mic now because this is sort of a handheld video shoot, but on interviews where you're actually sitting down with guests who've taken the time to sit down with you, you really want to capture audio. So you have high quality audio that you can put not only in the video, but actually repurpose that audio and put it on Spotify and iTunes and Google Podcasts and the like. You can repurpose that content in so many different ways. And if you have crisp audio, it just makes it that much smoother and clearer to your audience. And I'm sure if you think back on videos you've seen where the audio wasn't good, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So number 3 is gonna be audio, somebody to monitor your audio and have the right mics for it. Number 4 is gonna be a graphic designer. Now, a graphic designer is somebody who can help you, create images on, whether it's Adobe Illustrator or some sort of photo editing software. I'm personally not too familiar with it, as my team does all that. But if you have a graphic designer, they'll be able to make your logo for the podcast cover art. They'll be able to use photos of you to sort of promote it on social media. just in whatever ways, having graphic design, somebody in your pocket, somebody in your corner who can always help you when you need to design, or say you took a photo with a guest or an interviewee and you want to post it on social, they'll just help you sort of tailor it, maybe put your logo on it, little nuances. Going forward, if you're going to create a podcast or build a personal brand or really do anything on social media, you're going to definitely want to have a graphic designer in your pocket, okay? So that's number 4. And number 5, and this is kind of optional, but I would recommend it. Not a must, but I would recommend it. Number 5 is a photographer. That means somebody that can come with you on set and take photos, high quality photos of you during the interview so that you can repurpose it, show behind the scenes stuff. That excites the audience tremendously. Now, of course, it depends on your budget, but a lot of times, whether or not, say you, when you start your podcast, you're totally broke and you're trying to build a team, but you don't know how or you can't afford it. I've been there. When I started, I was there. And I've made over $30,000 worth of mistakes in the process. That's a big reason why a lot of my coaching clients apply to work with me, and you can apply if you're interested in taking these steps and taking it to the next level by building your own show. You can click the link below and hear testimonies from legends, people like Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Frank Kern, people like John Paul DeJoria, the billionaire, multi-billion-dollar founder of Paul Mitchell and Patron Tequila, who I've interviewed and have had a chance to see the system, and a lot of my coaching clients who they've had their own successes and all that. So if you want to check out, more about my coaching program, one-on-one, where I go more in depth about this stuff, you can check out the description below. There's a video there where I explain my 2 coaching programs. You can check it out, and there's a questionnaire when you watch that video. You can apply for coaching. But for those of you that are really interested in starting your own show, I want to let you know that having a team is a huge part of it. So if you have a team in place, you're well on your way to having a system of rinse and repeat. And from there, it's just a matter of having confidence to actually follow through, okay? So that leads me to number 3. And just real quick, I'll recap on the top 5 quality traits you need in a team. Number 1 is video. Number 2 is editor. Number 3 is audio engineer. Number 4 is a graphic designer. And number 5 is a photographer, optional, because a photographer is gonna allow you to capture cool moments from your interview, high quality images. And honestly, if you're not gonna do that, like I said, it depends on your budget, but you can just do it with a quick iPhone. Nowadays, the quality's pretty good. You can get the ball rolling with that. But as you grow and grow, you can get higher and higher quality caliber team mates and with skill sets. And again, you might find a photographer who does video, or you might find a videographer who is an editor. So it might not necessarily be that you need to hire 5 different people, right? You could hire 1 or 2 people that might do all 5 things, or whatever it is. So keep that in mind. As we move forward, I want to let you know that these are things that I know you might be like, okay, Omar, like you took 12 minutes or 13 minutes to get to that. But I really want to encourage you that the level of depth I'm going to you with this, I'm sharing this stuff with you in, is really intended for you to I really want you to think about it, so you get it, not just you hear the words, but you get the importance of each one of these roles and how integral they are to doing the heavy lifting up front. That way, once you start a show and you start an in-person podcast, you rinse and repeat. And I'll address your concern, because you might be thinking okay, well, Omar, this sounds awesome. I'm stoked on these tips, but I don't have money for it. And like I said, when I started, I was totally broke. I went $30,000 in debt doing this, borrowing money I didn't even have to overpay people. I got ripped off like crazy. I've dealt with all that. So I want to let you know that there's good news if you're thinking that, okay? So if you're broke, or you have a small budget, or you have a big budget, and when I say big budget, I just mean an appropriate budget to pay people for their skill sets, you're good. I've gone through every one of those phases, and I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's all about finding good people, and good people exist at every level of those abilities of you to recruit the team. So I'll tell you what to do at every level. Let's start from the top. So if you have the money to pay the right people, do it. It's a long-term investment. Don't worry about oh man, it's a couple $100 or it's $50 or $100 or whatever an hour. It won't be that bad if you're doing 1-hour interviews in the long run. I mean, think about it. These people charge tens of thousands of dollars an hour sometimes to get a meeting with them. And for example, I've sat down with Grant Cardone, John Paul DeJoria. I mean, you guys have heard the names. I don't have to drop names. And I've never paid a guest a single penny. And I built a 6-figure and beyond business doing this. So I want to let you guys know this is totally possible. So if you have the right budget, pay people with the skill sets. If you have a smaller budget, just be honest with people and let them know, hey, I can only afford this. Is this okay? And if they say no, no problem. Wish them the best. And if they are down, then boom, you're in business. And then the last level is if you're totally broke and really are on financial fumes, then be honest with them and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a videographer, an editor, photographer, graphic designer, audio engineer, right? Whatever it is, wherever you're looking, whether you're posting on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, post that you're looking for somebody, be honest that you don't have money to pay them, but tell them that this will be phenomenal for their portfolio. And I know a lot of freelancers who are either watching this, or you might know some freelancers go like, oh man, I'm sick of not being paid for my talent, or I'm sick of being told, oh, just do this for free to build your resume. But I promise you, building a podcast is one of the most powerful things that freelancers would love to be a part of at every level. They would literally love to. So don't take that for granted. Don't assume that like, oh, because you're broke, you can't do it, or because you're financially tight, you can't do it. Trust me, I would have blown away. The types of people, we're at over 4 million viewers at the time of recording this that have seen our interviews, and I'm blown away that even one person listens. I still trip out that anybody listens, but I promise you, much like Tony Robbins says, resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. And again, that's something I teach my coaching clients at every level to do, because if you don't do that, you'll always have excuses, right? So if you've been wanting to start a podcast and you really think like, damn, I need to do this, then you got to remember that is part of the process. So you have no excuses. Go build your team, go execute, okay? And that leads me to number 3. Number 3 is to first get your first 1 or 2 or 3 interviewees, not necessarily who are multimillionaires or who are all multi-billionaires or whatever it is, because if you do that, you're gonna put too much pressure on yourself and you might actually fumble the opportunity because you won't have confidence when you show up. So book your first 1, 2, or 3 interviews. That's number 3. Book your first 1, 2, or 3 interviews to get your confidence going. This can be somebody local to you. This can be a local successful entrepreneur. It can be, somebody who's advanced in your niche, maybe a social media influencer who lives close to you. Whatever it is, start thinking. Like even as I'm saying this, start writing down like some names that you think like, that would be possible. That wouldn't mess with my anxiety levels too much. I have the confidence to do that, and book them. Just DM them, say, hey, what's up? My name is, Lisa or Amanda or Tom or Gerald or whatever your name is, and I would love to start my own show. I'm starting my own show. Don't tell them you'd love to start one. They might look at you as too much of a rookie or beginner, but say, hey, I have a podcast and I would love to interview you. What's the best way to set up an interview or get in touch? And if you do that, you send it out to 10 people, you'll get 1 or 2 people to say yes, even though the most might say no or not get back to you. So if you just do that and take action, book your first 1, 2, or 3 interviews, you'll get the ball rolling, you'll build your confidence, and boom, I can do this before you level up and take it to the next level over the course of the next, days, weeks, months, and years. That's kind of what I did. And as you can see, I've interviewed over $10 billion worth of entrepreneurs. It works, and I've become friends with a lot of them. And I got to tell you, it's amazing. $30,000 of investing, even though at the time I was so scared and didn't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know. I thank God every day that I had the faith to fall through, and I ended up turning that $30,000 initially of fear and anxiety and invest it into what would become a $10 billion plus network that's continually growing. I'm friends with a lot of my heroes in the digital marketing space, in the entrepreneurial space, people that I never would have even dreamed of that I could text for advice that they normally would charge tens of thousands of dollars for, building my personal brand, creating revenue through affiliates and YouTube, and making so many connections and inspiring so many people around the world. It's just been a tremendous blessing. So I don't say that to impress you guys. I say it to impress upon you what's possible for you. I'm the last guy in the world to be like, oh, look at me, I'm awesome. I'm telling you, genuinely, this is possible for you. I was at rock bottom, down and out, got broken up with at the time, and my life has completely changed 180 by starting a show. So if you've been thinking about starting a podcast, I promise you these tips work, and I thank you for investing the 20 or so minutes that you're on this video, and you've hung on this long. I want to know. Comment below and tell me that you made it to the 20-minute mark. You took notes and you want to take action, and you're committed to making your life, your podcast, a masterpiece. Okay, guys? So number 3 is to book your first 1, 2, or 3 guests to build your confidence. And I know I'm being so thorough here, but thank you guys for hanging on. I promise you there's value here if you apply it, and I want to hear all your success stories. And you can join my coaching clients and their success, whether we work together or not. I want to hear it, so let me know. Reach out to me on social. Anyways, we get to number 4. You guys can see how excited I get about this stuff. Number 4, can you guess what it is? So let's recap real quick. We got number 1, define your mission, right? Brainstorm your show, your guests. Number 2, build your team. Number 3, book your first 1 or 2 or 3 guests. Here we get to number 4, and that is to publish and post. Now, I know you might say, well, Omar, that's obvious. Duh, I have to publish and post. How does that even count as one of the 4 steps? Well, I'll tell you. How it counts is because a lot of people have what I like to call publish anxiety, meaning they start a podcast, they record the first interview, but they wait months to put it out, years to put it out, and maybe they don't even put it out. You know, my first interview, I think it took me like 3 or 4 months to put it out because I kept trying to edit it, and I had all these reasons in my head as to why not, and why not yet, and I want to do this first, and and I want to have multiple episodes before I release, and was it even good, right? I had all these anxieties and insecurities around it. You know, obviously I didn't have a coach, I didn't have any sort of guidance, so I was just kind of winging it based on what I knew. But what I will tell you, and this is one of the most powerful secrets on this entire video, is to set a date and time for the release of your first episode, and do this with every episode. So on number 4 is to post and publish, okay? So this is inclusive of creating a thumbnail, which the graphic designer will come in handy for, having a cool title that's catchy about you and your guest on your podcast. You know, this is assuming you're doing a video podcast on YouTube, which you can repurpose online. If you're just doing it on one of the audio platforms, that's fine too. But make sure to have a catchy title that's sexy, that hooks people, and is relevant to the audience you're trying to serve, okay? So publish, post, have a cool thumbnail. If you're doing it on YouTube, have a cool title, and also take advantage of the descriptions. You guys might overlook the power of having descriptions with links driving traffic to your social media, your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, maybe subscribing to another YouTube video selling your products and services. And I can tell you that, you know, we've done monthly revenue that I never would have thought possible based on affiliate links selling products and services in YouTube descriptions. So don't overlook that there's power in that. And as you grow an audience, you'll be able to do that more and more. But that's going to be number 4, publish, post, and commit to actually releasing it to the world instead of just keeping it for yourself. So set a date to publish and post, number 4. And lastly, number 5, if you guys made it this far in the video, number 5 is going to be to create 1-minute clips, 1-minute content, create shareable content, I should say. So number 5 will be create shareable content. The way I've done it, and this has allowed me to get on Grant Cardone's interview over a dozen times, to get on Ed Milet's, you know, huge names in social media. Almost, I actually think every single person I've ever interviewed has shared my content on their social media, because as you guys know nowadays, people always say, well, you know, if you want to connect with people, you've got to add value. And the way that I've built a multi-billion-dollar network of human beings who've helped me in my life in ways that I never even thought possible is because I gave them value. And nowadays, you might want to jot this down. Content equals currency. Content is currency. The best way to add value to people, influencers, whoever it is, leaders in your industry, even if they don't even have social media, one of the most powerful things you can do is give them content to create it. Everybody wants to inspire their audience. Everybody wants to share their story with their audience. If people have worked to a place where they have a story worth telling, trust me, they want to tell it, and you can be the person to help them do that while your brand, your benefit, your products, your services, your business explodes in the process, okay? So that's going to be number 5, guys, is to really create shareable clips that you can send them that they'll want to send you in, because guess what? When you send them 1-minute clips or content or photos or whatever it is, if you create that shareable content, which is a micro segment from an interview, they will post it on their social media and they will tag you, and you will inherit their followers. And trust me, I've done this over and over and over and over again, and it works. So I know I hopped on here. My intention was to have this video be 5 or 10 minutes. I've now rambled to almost 25 minutes, but I want to let you guys know I love you tremendously. I hope this investment of your time is not something that you know, you look at as time that goes for nothing, and you know, is like one of the YouTube videos that you watch and got nothing from. I hope it was practical and you got systems and strategies from it that you can actually apply. I thank you so much for investing your time in this video. I don't take it for granted. I love you guys. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Let me know if you guys have any comments, and if you made it this far into the video and you feel like, damn, I want to do this, or you kind of, you know, follow my work, or you're a fan of the passionate few, or you're one of the passionate few that wants to take your life, your business to the next level by starting your own podcast in person, make sure to check out my coaching program in the description below. We have 2 coaching programs. One's $15K, the other's $25,000, and you can hear more about it, so you can hear how literally an investment that small can turn into something, connecting you with multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs, build a raving fan base for your products and services, explode your personal brand, and allow you to do something in the world that's meaningful, and turn money that would otherwise be invested in other things into something really special in the world. So if that speaks to you, if it speaks to your heart and you got value from this video, and you want to start your own podcast, I want to encourage you to do that. And let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments or whatever it is. I'm happy to answer those too. Subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll answer those. And I think that wraps it up. I'm gonna go have dinner. Hope you guys enjoyed this beautiful little video and got tremendous value from it. And I'll see you guys next time. God bless and thank you for being one of the passionate few.